Good morning, Gaurav. Good morning. So we are already on our session number 3, which is our penultimate session, because next Saturday we're going to have our last session together, which would be from HR perspective. Good morning, Shilpa. Good morning. Yeah, I think everybody has started pouring in now. Jibin has come. Joined. Kripa, Mansi, Rohit. Yes. So today we would be talking. So today the concepts which we would be covering would be team. Okay, we will touch upon the theory of your group formation theory, which was given by Bruce Tuckman. That one we would be touching upon again. And then we would be talking about lessons of teamwork from Apple. Then we would be talking about conflict resolution techniques, and then we have leadership and power and power. Right? Are we all good? Shall we start? Shall we all start? Karavila, Basappa, shall we start? Nilesh, yeah, all of us. Shall we start the session? Yeah, lovely. Yes. Let's start the session. So the concept of team, and last time we were discussing, see, there's a thing, last time I took that case of Chak De India. So we all have to remember there's a very thin line of difference when we say group and team. And because whenever we talk about group, it is all, everyone has their own agendas, and there lies power tussle lies there. People, try to exert more power. So that's what happens in a group. But when we call some a group as a team, when we call them as a team, it is a very different aspect, because in team power ploy does not exist. In team, everybody enjoys the freedom, everybody is equal. Okay, in a true sense, everybody in team, everybody is treated to be equal. They all can interact freely. Okay, in team, you may have a team leader, but as such, everybody enjoys the freedom equally. Everybody supports. So though you may have one of the individual as a team lead or a team captain or team head, but everybody in the team is given equal importance. There's a collective decision making. Everyone's viewpoint in the team is considered to be very important, the most important aspect for the team. And especially in this virtual world, okay, especially in this virtual world, the most important aspect for team is trust. You cannot foster a good team if you do not trust. There were days people or organization would always make you compete and pit you against each other. Gone are those days. When you are in loggerheads with each other, pitted against each other, your productivity wouldn't be that great as when you collaborate. Collaboration is the key for success. It is very important. The more you collaborate, the ahead you reach. Okay, so it is very important. I'm pretty sure within your team of this, this is cohort 12, right? You all must see that some of you might be very good in certain courses, and you might be helping each other. That is what is required. If you start having that mindset, oh, you know what, I need to top, I wouldn't help anyone, I'll get the maximum. At a certain point of time, even you would require somebody else's help. Do you agree to it? Shilpa, Karavla? So what happens? Someone might be very good at Python or, decision sciences or whatever it is. When you start helping each other, other individual will help you where it is required. It might be particularly for the cause. Trust me, in today's time, collaboration is the key to success. If you really, really want to move ahead, collaborate. Right? So that's what becomes team. So last time, if you remember, I was telling you this entire concept that in Chak De India earlier, they were unruly group. Everybody was playing for themselves. But when it is all about team, it is first the organization, then our functions or divisions or departments, and then us. Now, last time also, and this bit is very, very important, right? This particular concept of Bruce Tuckman's team building theory, it's very important. So it says that, so there are 5 stages to team building. Did I show you that video last time? What do we call it? Lord of Rings ka? I showed you, right, the video of Lord of Rings. Mansi, Nilesh, did I or didn't I? In session number 1, did I show you the video of Lord of Rings in group formation theory? Nahi? Nahi, Sunny? Okay, not, no, okay, no problem. I'll explain this and then I'll show you that video. So there are 5 stages of group formation: forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. Okay, Abid, no problem. So forming is the first stage. Go back to your school days or your first initial days of joining any organization. The first few days we are full of jitters. We don't know what happens. Gaurav is like, I don't know whether my boss is going to be good, how are my peers going to be. This is all bruised in our mind and we are very anxious. Okay, in forming stage. So when we meet people in forming stage, if we are a part of a team or when we meet them in forming stage, we all put our best foot forward. It's just because at this point of time, it's a formal introduction. Okay, we introduce each other, we have a conversation. Hey, how are you? Yeah, I'm good. How are you doing? What are your, oh, where were you working earlier? Oh, what are your hobbies? So we get to know people, each other, their work experience, their hobbies, their interests. We discuss superficially about the work for which we have come, right? The project or whatever it is. So we are very polite, we're very nice to each other. Okay. It's a kind of facade, huh? We might be nice, but yeah, that's how we present ourselves. So that's your forming stage. Then once it is settled, okay, that period is over of being nice to each other, being very courteous to each other. Now comes your storming stage. In storming stage, the reality hits us hard. We all know that we are here to, yeah, exactly, Rahul. That's what happens in real life as well. Nah? So in storming stage, we all know we are here to do a project. We all have to come together to complete this project. We discuss the ground rules of the project and everything we talk about, right? Ground rules we discuss in the forming stage, the deeper aspects we start discussing in storming. Now, what happens? We all know that we all come from different background, different upbringing. Our personalities are quite different from each other. And at this point of time, our personalities started clashing. So Mansi says, you know what, we should be doing this thing. So Gaurav might be, nay, I don't think so. I think we should be doing this thing. And Nilesh is like, yeah, I feel, why don't we do this thing? And then Sunny will say something else. So what happens? Your brainstorming is going on. Your thought processes are clashing. Your personality is clashing. Everybody wants to put their point forward. Everybody wants to be heard of. And then that feeling of being very nice, very courteous, that has taken a backseat now. Okay. It's just gone. Now you all know that, yes, you are here to complete a work, to complete a project, and that's what you have to. So personalities clashing, people are disagreeing with each other, disagreements are happening. Everybody wants to prove a point here. So yeah, many groups may fail in storming stage if we do not come to a consensus. But when you pass through the storm, bolte na, after the storm, you may have a peaceful journey. So that's what, once your brainstorming is done and everybody, you come to norming stage. So norming is what we set some ground rules for us, how we are going to work. Okay, we set some rules, regulations, or simply, if we may call it, we set a standard operating process. Okay, a procedure. Because here we understand that each one of us have some strengths and weaknesses. So my weakness might be certain things which Rahul has a strength on. So we start fitting like a jigsaw puzzle. Okay, so what Rahul is good at, I'm not good. And what I'm good at, Abid might not be. And what Abid is good at, Ambarish. And likewise, we start, being in sync with each other. We start like, really fitting like a hand in a glove. We all start working as cohesive unit. We all are on full swing. We set some norms. We all know each other's strengths and weaknesses. So if I know Abid is great in marketing research, so he would do that. I know Basappa would be great in client handling, so client wala part Basappa, you take care. I know Sunny would be great with vendors. He has great negotiation skills. So we are not taking care of negotiation. Sunny is going to do that. Okay, Shilpa is great in handling customer relations. So that department, Shilpa. So likewise, in our project, we kind of, distinguish all this work and kind of just distribute it amongst ourselves, because that's what we all know here. And because that we have understood each other and we have set some, some procedures and protocols, and we all are following that. We are so much in sync with each other now. Sometimes we don't have to verbally communicate. With the non-verbal gestures only, we'll understand what Nilesh is wanting to say, or what say Abhi is wanting to say, right? We all will start understanding, or what Aravind is wanting to say. That's what it happens. And because of all these things, that we are understanding each other so well, and we don't even touch each other's department, because we all know they are doing it there, right? And if required, they'll ask for help. So we are on a full swing of performances at peak, and nobody does it even, nobody even has to kind of survey us, in a sense that we don't even want anybody's supervision. Like this time we are unsupervised, or you can say a free flow team which can really work by their own. Okay, we are self-sufficient team. We don't want anyone. So we are that motivated. And because of this, the performance is at the top level in your performing stage. And since we are so much in high performing stage, we complete the project and go towards the end stage, which is adjourning stage. Adjourning means that now the work for which we had come together, it is over, and the team will disband. And this particular phase of adjourning is also known as mourning, because by now we have found so close connections with each other. We are so attached with each other that we feel so bad. Hota hai? I'm pretty sure when you started your MBAX journey, it was so overwhelming, because you had to manage your work life, your personal life, and your social life, and now the student life as well. And it would have been so difficult. You wouldn't have understood certain things, the way of operating. It was chaotic. But now you all have, I think you all are in performing stage. You all are completing all your IAs and Ts and on time, and then one course done, got to another. And likewise, when after 18 months you'll reach to your adjourning stage, you will be, so this cohort will be so connected to each other that while you would be convocating, you'll feel so bad. And Aniket would be like, you know what, I don't want to go, or like I'll miss all our classes and interactions. Do you agree, Kripa, Jibin, Mansi? Okay, so that would be, yes, that is going to be the day, and you'll feel the morning stage. Yeah. Okay, this is what happens. I'm pretty sure when Team India goes for any world tour, okay, initially, or any new team forms, they have their rift and all, and then they have this great team where they play for the team. And towards the end, like after that entire tournament or entire series is over, that feeling would be there. Now, another example which we discussed last time was about Chak De India, how, like, as I already said, from unruly girls coming as a bunch and group, and everybody's having their own agenda, how they transformed into a very, cohesive, close-knit unit, and they achieved for the team. Now, I'll show you Lord of Rings is one video. It's a very interesting video. Just a moment. It is a group formation, team building ka Lord of Rings. Just give me a moment. I may have it. Lord of Rings video. Chalo, let me show it. YouTube. Just give me a moment. Just let me know, are we there on the video page, guys? Yeah, thank you so much, Nilesh, Sunny. Yeah, Jibin.
Strangers from distant lands, friends of old, you've been summoned here to answer the threat of Mordor. Middle-earth stands upon the brink of destruction. None can escape it. You will unite, or you will fall. Each race is bound to this fate, this one doom.
Bring forth the ring, Frodo.
It must be taken deep into Mordor and cast back into the fiery chasm from whence it came. One of you Must do this.
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
Have you heard nothing Lord Elrond has said? The ring must be destroyed.
And I suppose you think you're the one to do it!
And if we fail, what then? What happens when Sauron takes back what is his?
I will be dead before I see the ring in the hands of an elf! So much no one trusts an elf!
All 5 stages of group formation.
Do you not understand? Necromancers, Sauron's power, none will escape. Come on and destroy!
I will take it. Who would give it to us? I will take it. I will take the ring to Mordor. Though I do not know the way.
I will help you bear this burden, Frodo Baggins, as long as it is yours to bear.
If by my life or death I can protect you, I will. You have my sword.
And you have my bow.
And my axe.
Carry the fate of us all, little one. If this is indeed the will of the Council, then Gondor will see it done.
Hurry! Frodo and Sam have reached the eastern shore. You mean not to follow them?
Frodo's fate is no longer in our hands.
Then it has all been in vain. The Fellowship has failed.
What if we hold true to each other? We will not abandon Merry and Pippin to torment and death. Not while we have strength left.
Leave all that can be spared behind.
We travel light. Let us hunt some orc.
Have you watched the movie? Yeah. I think now its series has also come, isn't it? Now, what all, okay, I want to know from you guys, you have to tell me, right? Okay, Shashi, Pritpal, Aniket, you all have to tell me what all activities you do for a team building thing. What are like, how do you kind of make sure that everybody in your organization, and if you all want to come online also, it would be really, really great. Online, I mean, audio, if you would be. It's not group formation diluted in online mode of learning. Satish, I wouldn't totally disagree to you. I do see you. I'll agree to you. What you say is that nothing can replace face to face. But again, Satish, isn't that everything has its own banes and boons? The fact for online thing, you all, I will say that online has given you a freedom which you wouldn't have thought otherwise. I'm pretty sure most of us would never have worked virtually before. Though I have been teaching in online space for quite some time, but trust me, even if I would have a class which would, like as I had with you all yesterday, from 7 to 9:30, I would always take it from university. But because of that, it can say that always there is such with some challenges, there's always a silver line. And trust me, Satish, that brought in a silver line. But as you say that yes, it is. And you know what? Twitter had been planning since long before 2020 to give forever work from home to their employees, because see what happens if you have great talent and they want certain flexibility and they can't, right? Yeah, I do agree. Role of institution in group formation, everything I do agree. Because see, trust me, face to face is a different charm. Don't you all think that if we had met face to face, we would have had a understanding of different level? That is true. That is, but you have to see with the kind of constraint you all had. Okay, Satish, I'm pretty sure you all must be having difficult, like hectic work schedule. That's the reason you opted for online MBA. Otherwise, even if you would have gone for executive MBA, you'd have to go to colleges. Nee, that's what nee, Satish, but it also depends now. I'm telling you, as if you want, I can give you voice right and even video right. So yes, limitations are definitely there. I'm not disagreeing, but yes, we all with our own efforts, we can limit the limitations, right? We can decrease or lessen the limitations. So yeah, we can do that. So okay, yeah. On that note, I'm telling you all of you, yeah, it has. But again, Satish, face to face would also have, like, you'll have to travel your time, travel, money, everything is more there, right? If you say that, of course, every mode will have certain veins and moods. Okay. So now, yeah. So you all have start sharing what all activities you all are doing. So Madhuri is saying virtual lunch, fun activities for ice breaking. Now, ek cheez hai, I want to propose something. Next Saturday, it's going to be our last session. Okay. And I would want the last session for us to have a face to face little towards the end, 10-15 minutes. First, we'll cover our syllabus, complete our syllabus. Then only towards the end for 10 minutes, we'll all will have face to face conversation. Does that make sense to you? Once we are done with our syllabus, everything, last 15-20 minutes, we'll have a little conversation. Yeah. Audio, video, and Uzdin, please don't say I don't have video and all those things. Yeah. So I'm telling you a week in advance, right? We'll have a little conversation. That will be our adjourning session, farewell session. Okay, Usha, Abhi, yeah, Shilpa, we all are agreed. Lovely. Okay, that's going to be our adjourning farewell. Great, Rishabh. So some of you said that we have virtual team lunches, okay, and you all have what all fun activities. Okay, it's not just in virtual medium. I'm pretty sure most of the organizations are now working either on totally face to face or hybrid mode. So yeah, do you have all these things? Lunch discussions, interactive seminars, collaborative space, okay, thought process, some brainstorming happening in those collaborative spaces, book discussions, ice breaking sessions, group mentoring. Even if you don't have, you can start incorporating it. Okay, and again, I myself don't like to get gyan, so I also don't get gyan. But trust me, even egg cheese now, even one thing, if you start incorporating in your organization, yeah. So Madhuri, it may happen that you know we all are interacting with each other, but on a very superficial level. We might not have that, what do you say, connect with each other. And especially when it is inter-team or inter-department. Why don't everybody come together and have some kind of activities? So ice breaking is that when we don't feel comfortable, we need to break those shackles so that we start mingling with each other. And as I was saying, see, Madhuri, what happened? Imagine we all would have met face to face. Our bonding, our relationship, our understanding would have been better. right? It is good, but it would have been better because we would have known each other better, right? Because here, of course, time constraint is there. We need to look into the interest of time because we need to complete the syllabus. We need to also interact. We need to discuss studies. So that ways, in organization, when all of you come together, and especially when you are new to the organization, and some activities are done so that you understand each other, when especially when it is inter-team, that is great. Okay, Madhuri, are we good? Then you can have fitness. Many organizations, they do these marathons. Okay, or they even encourage their employees to be part of these, different activities, to be a part of volunteer for some kind of social activities. Is there anyone in our team here who is a good runner and loves to trek and marathon and all those things? Koi hai? Yeah, Aniket, you do. Satish, lovely. What all you do? Promote hobbies and talents. You will see in IT, especially, I've seen. Okay, IT and a trekking, lovely. So IT and all I've seen. Just this last week, my friend had gone for a trekking, and like they were for 7 days without any network, no nothing, and staying in camps and all, tents and all. Personal best is 13K at, oh my God, 13 kilometers in one, like clearly 1 hour. And what were you doing, Satish? Huh? Very nice. इसमें 65 में एक zero लगा देना, that would be my personal best. Lovely. Hobbies. Okay, I was saying that many organizations now, they kind of promote their employees doing, within the organization, you have your, what do you say, your bands and all. Especially in IT and all, I have seen people having their own jamming and own bands and all. One would be a guitarist, another would be on the keyboard and all. Huh? Do you have any such in your organizations? Office parties. Okay, another important thing. I said I think I might have said this thing, that it is very important to be part of office parties. You have to make sure that you are seen, you're visible. Don't think that you're working hard, that is enough. That is not enough in today's world. You need to be seen, you need to be, indispensable. You can't be replaced. You have to make sure that you are like corporate offsite. Please be a part of it. Engaging with nature, organization do that. They have a drive and then they take part for this. Yeah, family connect. Yeah, it is important. See, especially Google has something which they call it is bring your parents to work day. Are you all aware? Yeah, no? Ari, it is very important. Bring your parents to work day. Just a sec. They always host. I'll just send you the link. Just a moment. I'll send you. Wait. If I may find, I may show you something. You know what happens when our family members see us a part of an organization? Do you all agree? They feel so proud. When they see us, oh wow, our kids are a part of this kind of organization. It is such a proud moment. Bring your parents to work. They wait. Yeah, where did it go? Amazon also has it. Google has it. Like, Google's is very interesting. Take your parents to work day. Yeah. Just a sec. See, suddenly all these things come to my mind. I want to share everything and anything under the sun. So are we there on the video page? Yeah. Thank you.
हाँ जी, मुझे ना डेंगू हो गया, मैं बेड रेस्ट पे हूँ, फुल रिफंड चाहिए था। तो आपने
I started working at Google like a year and a half ago, and I've been pretty techie. And my parents, they're both from Indonesia, but they're not like super techie.
So I'm thrilled. I speak to him 3 or 4 times a day, and so for him to actually witness live everything that I experience on a day-to-day basis is really exciting.
My mom actually was a programmer a long time ago with punch cards and the ancient history of programming.
I just really wanted to show him like all the great perks that we get. It's like such an open environment.
Seeing it from her perspective makes me excited about it. When you work here every day, sometimes things start to seem ordinary.
Anything that stands out?
Everything does.
And it's like one big gifted classroom. It's wonderful. It's a place where you're free to create.
It's a great experience, and I learned a lot.
I'm just along to visit the grandchildren.
It's so special for us because, we don't expect that Google going to invite the parents to join.
She tells me she's a product specialist, but I can guess what that is.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Think and do and explore it.
The open spaces, all the food.
It's just an absolutely wonderful atmosphere.
I took the class on how Google makes its money.
I didn't know there was other components to it, like the Google Docs and the photos, and that actually there's a Facebook Google. I mean, like similar. I didn't know.
Just getting around on scooters.
And it's fun. I mean, what a neat place to work.
At first, I didn't know how special it was. When she got the job, I'm like, okay, big deal, it's a job. Until some of my friends, they heard that she works for Google, and they called me and said, wow, must be great. And I'm like, okay. That's how I found out.
When you tell someone you work for Google, their eyes light up.
Oh my gosh, I was very, very excited when he said, I got an offer at Google. And I just said, are you going to take it? And he said, maybe.
Okay. Oh, it's amazing because they say, Google? She works at Google? Then they say, what does she do? And I say, well,
his brother and then his sister look up to him. It's like, wow, yeah. And well, it's very, very.
It's a great accomplishment, and we're very, very proud of him.
So yeah, as it truly is, your parents are more overwhelmed. Like for you, it might be normal thing, but imagine one of the parents when she said that they weren't even aware how big Google was, and when the friends and all say they really, really feel very, very proud about the kids doing that, right? So yeah, it connects. See, it's a very strategic move to bring your parents to work day. Reason being, what happens? Your parents are also attached to such workplace. They rave about it. You feel proud. Yeah, great satisfaction, great proud moment for them, right? So that's the reason the organizations nowadays have become very strategic in these as well. Now, what are the different kinds of team we talk about? Functional team, cross-functional, self-managed, supervised, virtual, and problem solving. Let's see what do we mean by these. Functional team means that the core competency remains the same. You are from the same department. If it is HR, one person may be HR manager, HR, one person may be looking after recruitment or talent acquisition, another individual from talent management, another one from payroll, but your functional area is same. That like in IT also, system analysts, developers, testers, coders, but your domain area remains the same. So that is your functional team where the people's domain area is same and they have the common expertise, right? Cross-functional is that, and in functional hierarchy would be different, but your domain or core area remains the same. Whereas when we talk about the cross-functional team, what happens here is that the levels are same, okay, but the domains are different. So it may happen that there's a product launch and they have formed, the organization has formed a cross-functional team. So what happens in that cross-functional team? You have one HR head, another product head, another marketing head, another ops head, another IT head. So all these heads have come together. So there, what happens? Their levels is same, but the domain area is different. Okay, so that is known as your cross-functional team. Going to next is your self-managed team. As I was telling you that when you reach in your performance stage, okay, you are so driven by yourself, you are so in sync with each other that you don't even need any supervision. That team which does not need any supervision, that is known as self-managed team. Now tell me, when people go to senior levels, like when you are, say for example, a senior manager or general manager or AGM or a VP, do you think you require supervision on a daily basis? Huh? Shilpa, Dinesh, Jabin, Jyotish? Naina, absolutely not, Mansi, right? Not at all, yes, Yunus. So that is your self-managed team. Whereas when you talk about, like, for example, you have people under you, right? Say, for example, you have your sales guys under you, right? For that, you may need to have a daily intervention, right, Mansi? Hi, Yunus. Daily intervention for them, especially when people are new, they are feet on street kind of people, for they require daily intervention, daily hand holding and mentoring from you. So that becomes your supervised team, where you supervision would be required, right? Then comes the next team. And I think what team we are? Are we a virtual team or a problem solving team? On that note, may I please know you all are from which place? You all can please type. So virtual team is that you might not be sharing the same physical location. You might be from different. So Yunus, Mumbai, Satish, Kolkata. Wait. Pritpal is from Hyderabad, Kripa is from Mumbai, Shilpa is from Jamshedpur, Sunny is from Delhi, Shashi is virtual. Come on, Shashi, still. We are virtual team. I thought Shashi saying he's from virtual place. Vijay is from Pune, Jyotishman is from Kolkata, Rishabh is from Delhi, Usha is from Mysore, Abhishek is from Vadodara, Aniket is from Bangalore, Jyoti from Nashik. Interesting blend of, trust me, Gaurav Ahmedabad, Shashi Pune, Shreya Hyderabad, Jibin Kerala, Mansi Bangalore, Kravila Bhubaneswar. Wow, Rahul is from Darjeeling but settled in Bangalore. Don't you miss Darjeeling, Rahul? Trust me, I am myself from a hilly station, but still Darjeeling is my hands down favorite place. Abith is from Surat, Nilesh is from Mumbai, Madhuri is from Mumbai, Ankit is from Mumbai. Lovely. So many in Mumbai. In general, I'll tell you something, what I have observed, historical past if I go by. Mostly when I teach in analytics course, this particular one, I find people mostly from Bangalore and Pune, maximum. This time I can see the Mumbai guys more, but generally I've seen Bangalore and Pune. So we are a virtual team, lovely. Now, a problem-solving team is that where, because of certain, firefighting issues, few employees from the same department, they may meet once in a week or once in a fortnight to resolve problems. Like as you have quality circles. Okay, you can also bring what you say as your this team. What do you call it? I'm just forgetting the name. Posh committee also would come under problem solving team. Okay, now let's have some lessons of teamwork from Apple. Okay, now we all know Apple is what it has become in past 15, 16 years. Apple has reached where it has reached. Okay, I don't know, as yesterday we all were talking, we all are from the era, many of us from the era of Nokia, and we all have adapted to Apple so well. So let us see what all lessons of teamwork Apple teaches us. First is there has to be one person in charge. Do you all believe that too many cooks, they spoil a broth? You must have heard this phrase. Okay, that's what happens. If I tell, okay, you all need to do, and I don't make one person responsible, what happens? Rishabh bolega, Shilpa was supposed to do. Shilpa will say, no. Usha was supposed to do. Usha is going to say Madhuri was supposed to do. Madhuri says Yunus. Yunus says Abid. Likewise, you will keep on passing the buck. Right, Jyotishman? Yeah, so you have to make sure you make one person in charge. You say, all of you have to work together, but then tell one person, I'm going to take this from you. Okay, I'm going to take the update from you. Then what happens? It becomes that individual's baby. It becomes that individual's responsibility to make sure he or she is able to do that. So always make sure that one person in charge. Otherwise, it's going to be Chinese whisper. Shuru hoga kisi aur se and it will be on something else. So it will be very hectic. So always. Another bit, meet once a week. I have seen this thing quite a lot in organization, even like every time, that when things are going wrong, we will meet quite often. Let's have a meeting, let's have a meeting. But when things are falling in place, what happens? When things are going hunky-dory, we become a little laid-back attitude. Okay, that is not correct. Even if you're meeting for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, but once in a week meet, see what happens, what Vijay is doing, I'll learn from there, and it would not come to me. If we keep each other in loop with each other, if we keep each other apprised, what happens? It becomes easy for us. Right? Do you all agree? Yeah. So always meet once in a week. It is very important, so that, maybe everything is going flawless, but if we keep on meeting each other, apprising each other, in future also things will always be going very well. And then problem would be resolved before it even starts. Teamwork starts at the top. We all feel that, oh, frontline has to do it, frontline has to do it. No, frontline always looks up to people who are above there. So you have to make sure it's not the duty of the frontline staff or the people who are reporting to you to create a nice culture. It is a duty of the founders and the top management to make sure that they are collaborative, to make sure they are operating as a close-knit, cohesive unit. And then only you have to lead by example. You have to show them that we ourselves are so much in sync with each other. If you're constantly, if you see, your HR head and your purchase head are constantly in loggerheads with each other, you will also develop that culture underneath. So that's how you have to make sure. It's very important. You have to create the culture, and then it trickles down and percolates down to everyone else. I told you, there's this researcher, Charles Handy. He has written on his research saying that especially in this virtual world, trust is very important. In team, if we don't trust each other, our team can never sustain very well. It's like when you do dahi handi, the individual who is on the shoulder of somebody else, he's trusting that individual with his life. Likewise, when you are dancing in a team and you're free falling, you're trusting somebody else that this individual is going to catch me. Trust it, and it is as simple as that in the organization. You know what happens if Jyoti and Chandan are very close-knit team and they all are working, Jyoti, Chandan, Satish, Mansi, all these are working together very well. Then what happens? Even if Jyoti is not there, she knows Chandan is watching her back. So she will be rest assured that theek hai, Chandan hai, he will manage. Do you all agree? When we have trust in people, otherwise, if we don't trust each other, we would be all the more scared. Pata nahi, if I'm not there, what this individual is going to say. Whatever I have done till now, this individual is going to, make, create a havoc over there. So it's very important that you have to have foster that trust in your team. Then you would not be worried. You will be like, you know what? I am not there. Usha will take care of everything. I am so chill about it. So that is the kind of culture we all need to create, to have trust on each other. And it is very important to have arguments. It's not that we have to say yes for everything. Then we'll all become like straight-jacketed horse, don't have any vision. So it's important to have arguments. Arguments does not mean that if Gaurav and I are arguing, it doesn't mean that I disrespect Gaurav or he disrespects me. It is important to have a different thought process, because if we start, so if everybody in Apple would have said yes to each other, what they were doing, they would not have become what they are today, right? They would have died early. So it is important to have a different line of thought. From there only all this creativity flows. Abhi, I think the creativity of Apple is going to doldrums, because I think everybody is agreeing to each other, because we are not seeing so many new happenings, huh? So it is important. And Steve Jobs was said to be very, very ruthless kind of leader. He would want people to have, kind of, so especially in creative field, he would want people to tear each other apart. Okay, to a certain extent, I kind of dislike this kind of culture, but that's fine until unless it is creative. Steve Jobs, he had, Usha, I think I must have said that Steve Jobs earlier was very, autocratic in nature. And he was then ousted from his own organization, from Apple. That when he came back to Apple after that he formed Next, and then Next was taken over by Apple and he came back. Then he changed, Shilpa. And you can say that later on now, Steve Jobs was more of a, a contingent kind of leader. a situational leader, I would say. Sometimes he would become transactional, as Usha says, and sometimes he will become transformational as well. He kind of handheld, mentored what's his name, Tim Cook. And when he resigned, he has recommended the name of Tim Cook to be the CEO. He made sure that he was like, Tim Cook was his protege, and he made sure he was grooming Tim Cook very well. So yeah, wonderful arguments. Let people make decisions. Yes, as a great leader, all of you, what you need to do, you need to let people make decisions. You don't have to be there everywhere. It is not possible. So when you grow now up the ladder, thoda let things go. I have seen many people, they have grown up the ladder and they'll keep every decision to themselves. See what happens, they stress, they themselves are stressed, they are not able to handle things, and they'll keep others also stressed. Agreed? They would want everything to be copied to them, to be told to them, and then so much of work, bilkul. And that is wrong, na Jyotishman, it's so difficult. You have to see, in a certain level, you can do those things, like manage. As you're growing up, your responsibilities are growing up. They're becoming much better. You don't have to be an yeah, so Madhuri, let things go. Because now your role in operational level is over. You're moving towards strategic role. So let these operational thing go. Let people make decision. They will make decision. They will make mistake, because we all say to err is human. Yeah, it is difficult, but yes, Jyotishman, it is important. Otherwise, that individual would be stressed and would be making others also stressed. So what happens is that let people make decisions. People will falter. It is fine. We learn from that. We did not know how to learn, how to write ABC. We made slanting lines, joined them, and did various things, and then only were able to do. I could not write a sentence, right? We all started learning the letters. It is difficult. I do say, I do agree, and always theory is always easy than practical. Bilkul. That is true. Okay, application of things, what I'm saying, it would be very difficult in real life, but that's the solution. Yeah, that's a solution, na, Satish? That is important. That you have to let things go, let people make decisions. They will falter, they will make mistake, they'll learn from that. They'll be better leader. And a good leader is that only who creates leader underneath. If you are done, and then after that, there's no good leader, that means you failed as a leader. So yeah. Then comes another work to one goal. Yeah, it is important that every department, every individual in the organization has to be channelized in a way that you all are working towards one goal, right? You all are listening to the same sheet of music, and otherwise we all would be running like headless chicken. So why people have these, in loggerheads with each other? Because we feel that my department. Now, Baba, if every department's goal is synced with each other, we all are working towards the same thing, then this thing will never happen. So yeah, these are the 7 lessons which we learned from Apple. And before I go, I'll show you young Steve Jobs video before I go to conflict. With their video page, I'll show you young Steve Jobs here. Yeah. Thank you, Rishi.
The greatest people are self-managing. They don't need to be managed. Once they know what to do, they'll go figure out how to do it. And they don't need to be managed at all. What they need is a common vision. And that's what leadership is. What leadership is having a vision, being able to articulate that so the people around you can understand it, and getting a consensus on a common vision. We wanted people that were insanely great at what they did. But we're not necessarily those seasoned professionals, but who had at the tips of their fingers and in their passion the latest understanding of where technology was and what we could do with that technology, and who wanted to bring that to lots of people. So the neatest thing that happens is when you get a core group of 10 great people, it becomes self-policing as to who they let into that group. So I consider the most important job of someone like myself is recruiting.
We agonized over hiring. We had interviews. You could go back and look at some of the interviews agendas. They would start at 9 or 10 in the morning and go through dinner. A new interviewee would talk to everybody in the building at least once, and maybe a couple times, and then come back for another round of interviews, and then we'd all get together and talk about it.
And then they fill out an application.
No, they never filled out.
The most critical part of the interview, at least to my mind, was when we finally
decided we liked them enough to show them the Macintosh prototype, and then we sat them down in front of it. And if they just kind of were bored or said, "This is a nice computer," we didn't want them. We wanted their eyes to light up and them to get really excited, and then we knew they were one of us.
And everybody just wanted to work, not because it was work that had to be done, but it was because something that we really believed in that was just going to really make a difference. And that's what kept the whole thing going.
We all wanted exactly the same thing, and instead of spending our time arguing about what the computer should be, we all knew what the computer should be, and we just went and did it.
We went through that stage in Apple where we went out and we thought, oh, we're going to be a big company, let's hire professional management. We went out and hired a bunch of professional management. It didn't work at all. Most of them were bozos. They knew how to manage, but they didn't know how to do anything. And so if you're a great person, why do you want to work for somebody you can't learn anything from? And you know what's interesting? You know who the best managers are? They're the great individual contributors who never ever want to be a manager, but decide they have to be a manager because no one else is going to be able to do as good a job as them.
After hiring 2 professional managers from outside the company and firing them both, Jobs gambled on Debbie Coleman, a member of the Macintosh team. 32 years old, an English literature major with an MBA from Stanford, Debbie was a financial manager with no experience in manufacturing.
I mean, there's no way in the world anybody else would give me this chance to run this kind of operation. And I don't kid myself about that. This is an incredible high risk, both for myself personally and professionally, and for Apple as a company, to put a person like myself in this job. I mean, they're really betting on a lot of things. We're betting that my skills and organizational effectiveness, override all those, lack of technology, lack of experience, lack of, time in manufacturing. So it's a big risk, and I'm just an example, and every single person on the Mac team, almost to your, entry-level person, you could say that about. This is a place where people were afforded just incredibly unique opportunities to prove that they could write the book again.
Inscribed inside the casing of every Macintosh, unseen by the consumer, are the signatures of the whole team. This is Apple's way of affirming that their latest innovation is a product of the individuals who created it, not the corporation.
Chalo. Let's now go back to our slides, and now we come to our next topic, which is about your conflict. And conflict is an integral part of our life, whether it is our personal relations. Every day we have conflict with our family members, whether it is workplace, with our peers, with our subordinates, with our bosses. And we all know that conflict is necessary for an organization. Otherwise, what happens? Everybody is in sync with each other. No new things happen. No creativity happens. No new process will come. So hence, we all can say that conflict is necessary, but functional conflict is necessary. The conflict which triggers competition, which triggers creativity in us is required, but the conflict which creates chaos and which creates a very toxic work environment, that is dysfunctional conflict, that is not required. So conflict is simply, as I said, when two people, they have opposing need, opposing wishes, opposing interest. When they come with each other and their interest and wishes, they don't match, they are not on the same page. Okay, that's when the conflict happens, and it is a very, very natural process. But as I told last time, also yesterday, also when we were talking about perception, the day we start seeing each other's point of opinion, point of view, our conflict would be minimized and reduced a lot. Right now, we would be discussing certain sources of conflict. So there are various sources, but yes, we would be touching upon 3 sources. One is your communication, then you have your personal variables and difference in values, and then we have change. Okay, I feel in order to any relationship, be it professional, personal, anywhere, if you really want to foster that relationship, nurture that relationship, communication is very, very important. Communication is the key to success. You know what happens if I don't communicate? You assume. Do you all agree? If I don't tell you. So even if I'm having a problem, I don't share it with you, and there are certain problems happen during class, you are going to assume, ki kya hai, why is she doing so? And that's what. But if I tell you, and you know what? Every individual wants to help us. I've noticed this. If I tell you my problem, this is what is happening, I can guarantee all of you, not most of you, all of you would be understanding that perspective. That's where it is important to tell people. Otherwise, what happens? The God is not going to come to my dreams and going to tell me anything, even if you have a problem, right? For example, let's take that attendance is mandatory and Aniket has to go for a very important meeting on Sunday. Okay. If he just goes and does not tell me, in case if it has any weightage, I'm saying that attending the classes, you all can see the recording. For you, it is not. Okay, I would think, acha nahi aaya, Sunday hai, he would have thought, I don't want to, and I would not mark him on attendance. Whereas if he tells me his concern, tells me what has happened, of course, nobody is that kind of individual who would not understand. So it's important, let people know about it. Otherwise, what happens? Assumption happens and rumors happens, and that is not good for any kind of relationship. Tell people about it. So when you don't communicate or under communication, then always ghar pe bhi, if you have a problem, share it with them. Everybody wants to help you. Office also share, tell people about it. After that, then see, what happens. I believe it's better to over communicate than to under communicate. So first is your communication. The next source of conflict is your personal variables. Okay, now we all know about Kaurav and Pandav, okay, and Mahabharat. We all know. And at least if you have not seen whilst you were growing up, you must have seen during your lockdown. You remember lockdown? I think many people saw it during that time, because I think lockdown may Doordarshan ran it again. Yeah. So what happens in this? Why these favorite? Yeah. I remember New Mahabharata or Usha, the old one is I think the classic one. I think I'll tell you, not Mahabharata, but Ramayana. I think you must have seen this video. So if you remember the Ramayana series, Arun Govil used to be portraying the character of God Ram. And recently, this guy was coming from somewhere. I think in airport, there's this woman who saw him and she laid, if you know what Shashtang Pranam is, she like full flat she went and she was doing pranam to him. Yeah, so that's how people kind of relate to that thing. Yeah, it actually went viral, and I'm pretty sure if you haven't seen, please after the class or during the video. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, conviction. True that, Nilesh. So yeah, so what happened in Mahabharat, Kaurav and Pandavas, their thought process, their personalities were different. It clashed. Okay, very, as we have seen the epic on the television. One is very dominating, want everything for themselves. The other one has a different point of opinion. And when it clashed, we all saw that the biggest war happened, and which was Mahabharat. Then, okay, do you all agree, whilst we were growing up, our parents used to tell the teacher, when the PTM used to happen, we used to be scared. Ki, Pata nahi, I don't know what is going to happen. So parents used to tell teacher, give them a whack. If they don't listen, do this, do that, you have full authority. And teachers will also our family members, they'll also take care of us like that. But nowadays, do you think the same thing can happen? The teacher cannot even raise the voice, not at all. Things have changed drastically, huh? Agreed? Yes, no? Okay. I'm not saying that corporal punishment is good, like you should hit the kids and all. No, that is too much. Rahul's answer is the best. We were being hit by the teachers and I agree. By the neighbors also, I agree. Bilkul. And I remember if we ever, there was this fight and our friends used to come home and say that, oh, she has done that, he has done that. Ulta, we would only get the whacking. Nowadays, the parents, they ask questions to other. Yeah, it is necessity. It is absolutely necessity. Nowadays, you know what? The teachers are scared. Ki, Pata nahi, I don't know what kids would have said. Okay, what the parents are going to ask us. And parents are like, why did you raise? Earlier I used to see on WhatsApp, the parents would be saying, oh, the teacher raised her voice on my son and he felt so bad about it. And all those things, okay. Of course, I'm saying, I'm not kind of saying that you should hit the kids, but raise the voice, that is fine. Teachers have that right, like for the kids to discipline them, as, Shilpa is saying, basic discipline is necessary. So this is where the conflict happens. And that's why we say, oh, what generation gap, because we have been raised in a certain manner. Absolutely, Shilpa. I know, like, when you talk about your, what I feel is that the growing up, especially the primary and class 10th and all this teacher, whatever we are today, it is because how they treated us, how they handled us, mentored us. So yes, they had full right to shout at us, mentor us, and absolutely, it was a totally different feel and what we feel about them today as well. True that. Now the kids don't have that. I know, Madhuri. Now they say, this is what we don't like, you doing comparisons. Yeah. Oh, that's the reason, Nilesh. I'm saying corporal punishment is not good, but shouting and all is fine. Na? Teacher has the right to tell you what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. Yeah, that bit, yeah, corporal, hitting and all. Nowadays, the kids are more sensitive. I remember, like, I don't know, prepaid. Usha, I remember, like, in my school, the sisters used to be there and they had a very typical way of punishing. So they'll take the smallest, thinnest part of your skin and pinch you there. Oh my God, it used to hurt so bad. And then and if you forgot to bring a particular book on a particular day where you were supposed to, then to scaling to, scale to used to be there. Yeah. And I don't know how many of you relate to it, but I remember mother would do, like mama would do something in kitchen and some glass will break and she'll come to the living room and hate us, whether we were not even there. Glass thoda kitchen mein, we'll get hitting in the living room where we poor kids would be, me and my brother would be watching TV. Video stuck. Is that okay now, Nilesh? Audible, visible now? Nacha, theek hai. Another bit is your change. Yeah, change is always uncomfortable. Okay, we all love to be in a shell, in a cocoon. We don't want to come out of it. And when something happens, change is so uncomfortable. Even sometimes we don't update our CVs and all because we have this fear. Ki pata nahi, the new job, I don't know how the new job is going to be. So change is not a comfortable feeling, but we all know in today's world, agility is the only thing which is going to take us further. Okay, so yeah, do not resist too much to the change. Change is important. Change is required. If you take this example of movie Toilet, okay, the protagonist, the woman, she wanted to bring in a positive change, to have washroom within the household. But see what happens again, different generation. They said that in this compound, we have a place of worship, we have a kitchen. How can we have a place of sanitation here as well? Okay, so that's the reason they were totally against it. And because of their, even the husband and wife had drift, so much of conflict happened, so much of fights happened. And yes, it's just obvious people have certain resistance to certain things, of fear. So change does bring conflict. It is not an easy process everywhere. So if you want to incorporate a new system, when in 90s and all this computerization happened, all these banks, right? Banks became computerized. These are people who were working in bank. They were hesitant, they were resistant because they thought that now the computer is going to take away their jobs, which is definitely not the case. But this is how they felt. So change is not like always a nice feeling or a comfort zone. It does make us uncomfortable. So yeah, these are the few sources which we discussed of conflict. Now, conflict has certain negative aspects and certain positive aspects. So first we'll discuss your negative aspects. So one negative aspect of conflict is performance degradation and low employee retention. I want to ask you a very simple question. When you have a conflict with someone, a little heated more, not a functional one, but a little bit more. Okay, are you able to totally dissociate yourself from that and come home, or do you carry it with you? That why did this individual do? I will be doing next. And sometimes, whilst you're sleeping, also you're thinking about this. This should not have happened. This is not correct. Why this individual did it? Does it play sometime at the back of your mind? Does it happen? Tell me truly. Hota hai. Yeah, normally we all carry. That's what I'm saying. Normally. See, we might have now come to a level where we do not give it to our kids or our spouses and all. But yes, Mansi, absolutely. See what happens because of when too much of conflict happens in an organization, it degrades your performance, because that time when Mansi could have used for thinking creatively, or Aniket would have used for, bringing everyone together as a team, he's thinking about that conflict. Okay, Shashi is thinking what to do next. How should I do? Abhi is thinking, what should be my strategy? Why this individual did? I always have. So when conflict happens, however, we may say that, oh, we have attained nirvana and all those things, but it does play at the back of our mind. It really degrades our performance. Okay, it keeps on happening, replaying again and again. One is your this, and another is low employee retention. When you work in a place where always conflict is happening, the atmosphere becomes toxic. What happens? People after a certain point of time, they don't want to be in such an organization. Back to back conflicts happening, we won't. Then you are, searching for new jobs until unless you are able to get it. Till the time, it's kind of stopgap arrangement. And then once you get it, you don't even would recommend your near and dear ones to join such an organization. So you, first of all, you're not able to retain your employee, plus you're also hampering your brand name. So yeah, conflict have like dysfunctional conflict and loads of negative aspect. But yes, conflict is important too as well. There are certain positive aspects of conflict as well. We can't always say that conflict is always negative. It has certain things like competition and creativity. You must have seen when we were all growing up and some new admission comes, okay? Then we would start working extra hard, studying extra hard, because we don't know how this new individual is going to do. What if, okay, all this year, Shashi used to be the topper and Aniket Aya, and Shashi would be scared. What if Aniket tops the class? Huh? Do you all agree? This used to happen, especially when we had new admissions. So competition, even at work, when you have some new joinee, you don't know. We all pull our socks because we feel like, I don't know how this individual is going to do. So yes, it induces healthy competition, which is important, right? Because at the end of the day, when otherwise, if we are too comfortable with each other, okay, no competition, productivity will never rise. We need a tad bit of competition to make sure everybody is working in full swing, right? Creativity, the spur of creativity will happen only when conflict happens. Nahi to, acha, extreme is Mansi, that dysfunctional it becomes extreme. Yeah. Creativity, for example, Sunny gives an idea, and then it may happen that Shipra says, no, I don't agree. Or Nilesh says that I have this other aspect. See what happens then? This way, everybody is thinking deep. Yunus is bringing in new perspective. Rahul is bringing another. So creativity, spur of creativity, all of us who all are sitting together and thinking on this, our creative juices start to churn. And then we go to do deep into it, do a root cause analysis, bring the best ideas there. This is how it happens. These are the positive aspects of conflict. But again, conflict to a certain level is good, but conflict, when it goes beyond a certain level, it becomes dysfunctional. So we discussed about the good aspects of conflict, that is functional, creativity, competition. But when it becomes dysfunctional, performance degradation, low employee retention, employee morale is down, satisfaction is down, then how do we deal with it? We have to resolve these conflict. Okay, and we use for these techniques to resolve the conflict. What are these techniques? Integrating or collaborating, which is also known as problem solving technique, then obliging or accommodating, then competing, and then avoiding. So let us see what are these conflict are. And when I have explained, and then I have given examples here. Okay. So integrating, which is also known as a problem solving technique or a collaborating technique. So what happens in this technique? Most of the time we feel conflict because we don't talk to people about it. Okay. So for example, it may happen that, Kripa and say, for example, Basappa are in conflict with each other. Okay, Kripa is purchase department head, Basappa is IT head, and because of certain purchase of computers and all, because there's some rift between them. Now they are not talking to each other because they are having conflict. The day they come together face to face, Kripa and Basappa said, they start talking about it. What happens? Most of the time you feel conflict to tha hi nahi. There wasn't any conflict at all. So what happens in such a case? both the parties, they come together, sit face to face, come to a solution which is benefiting both of them, right? Come to a mid solution, okay? A little bit of basapas, a little bit of kripas. That means we are coming to a practical solution which is benefiting both the parties. Integrating, that's the reason. If you can see, both the wires are getting stuck together, blue and red. So that means we are finding a middle way. We are finding a solution which is benefiting both the party in equal ways. That's the reason this particular solution is known as integrating or problem solving or collaborating. Okay. So for example, I'll give you an example here. So what happens? Anya, she owns a ballet studio, right? Anya. And she has a best friend whose name is Sukriti, and she's a manager in her ballet studio. Now, Anya and Sukriti, most of the time, they agree to each other. They come up with good business solutions. But this time, Anya, so they had this vacancy for a dance teacher, for which Anya likes one individual and Sukriti likes another. Now, in common parlance, if you see, Anya is the owner of ballet studio. It is her right also. So if she wants, she can, of course, make what she wants, take a decision or however she wants it. But no, she understands that it's important to take Anya, Sukriti's suggestion also. So they both sit together and to come to an integrative or a collaborative solution. What is that? So they say, okay, they come to a solution that what we'll do, we'll hire both of them on a trial period. Okay, both the applicants, which Anya likes and which Sukriti likes. And later on, whosoever performs better, that individual would be hired. So this is what the best of both the worlds, okay, where both of their suggestions have been incorporated. So this is known as integrating or collaborating or problem-solving approach. Now, I'll show you something. Do you all watch Friends? Friends dekhte ho? Yeah, I'm going to show you a video from Friends then. Just give me a moment. Okay, yeah, it's your favorite. So, okay, fine. At least Sunday go you could watch some Friends. So in this, you will see how integrating plus competing, which I'll explain to you later, is being used here. So yeah, let's watch this. It's a fun take on conflict resolution.
Okay, Rachel, why don't you start talking first? All right. I feel that this is totally unjustified. She gave me the green light. I did nothing. Do you think I can't see you in the TV set? All right, Monica, if there is something that you would like to share...
You know, you had no right to go out with him.
That is the most ridiculous...
You sold me out.
I did not sell
Yes, you
you
did.
out. I did absolutely
Would you let
sold
me
talk. Did you just flick me? Okay, well, you wouldn't let me finish, and I was just... Ow, that hurt. Quit flicking. Ow, you stop flicking. You flicked me first. Ow, get it. Ow. Oh, all right, okay. Now, let's not do this. Let's... Ow, come on. Happy thoughts. Happy thoughts. Come on. Okay, now I'm gonna kick some... Ow! 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 All right. Now I will let go if you both stop.
Oh, what do you want me to stop seeing him? Is that what you want?
Uh-huh.
You want me to just call him up and tell him that you're seeing him instead? Is that what you want?
Okay.
Oh, that's what you want?
Yes.
Fine.
Fine. There we go.
Say you're sorry!
No! Say it, Rachel! No, I'm not! Say it! Say it! Oh, right. Rachel, you say you're sorry, or your sweater gets it.
Okay, that is my favorite sweater. That is my third date sweater.
Say you're sorry.
Okay, you want to play? Okay, let's play. Let's play.
What are you gonna do?
You give me back my sweater or it's handbag marinara.
You don't have the guts.
Oh, yeah? Well, at least I wasn't too chicken to tell some guy I thought he was cute. No!
Who can even remember why you started fighting in the first place?
She knew that I liked doing my thing and she wouldn't have done it if you didn't know first.
Yes, that's right. But still, look at your purse. Look at your sweater. Look at yourselves. I'll help you fix your sweater.
I'll help you throw out your purse.
I'm sorry that I made you stop seeing him.
Well, I'm sorry I went out with him when I knew you liked him.
I'm sorry that I borrowed your gloves.
So, yeah, going on to our next approach of conflict resolution. Just a moment. Yeah, the next approach is obliging or accommodating. So what is obliging or accommodating? What happens is that this is you win and I lose kind of approach, right? What happens in this is that one party gives up his own or her own concern to satisfy the other party's need. Now, there can be two reasons for that. One reason is that when you have that, acha, theek hai, let me listen to what, Abhi is thinking right now. And next time what happens, Abhi may give the bigger chunk, or, whenever we have a conflict, we may take a step back. So when you think about the future and oblige that individual for now, that this time I'm obliging him, that this time I'm taking care of this individual's need, next time he or she will take care of my need. That is one reason of doing. Next can be sometimes that other individual has such a, abrasive personality or such an overbearing personality that you don't want to get arguments with that. Okay, very overbearing personality. You feel, I don't want to channelize my energy with this individual. Let that individual take it. Who are? Tell me this one. This happens with us. And like, who wants to take that extra stress in my life? If this individual wants to win this argument, let this individual win. I don't have that bandwidth, that energy to be with that individual. Yeah. Only Madhuri has felt, nobody else. I'll give you an example here. So Sonal, she works in a local fitness center and she loves her job. But in that particular center, Sia also works, okay? And now Sia is a very strong personality, very overbearing personality. And because of that, she takes advantage of this kind of personality. And she always trades her shifts with Sonal. Now, Sonal does not like this attitude of Sia. But what happens is that she doesn't want to get into arguments there. She doesn't want to get into loggerheads because she's like, I already have a lot of stress in my life. I don't want to take additional, tension or stress in the workplace. She always trades with Sia. So it doesn't happen with us, or else you would see that when you are high on agreeableness, people tend to do this with us. Okay. And then we tend to always accommodate others' needs and oblige them. Yeah. What? No. Only Madhuri is agreeing. You guys don't oblige anyone? Don't agree to this? Yeah. Happens, then there's avoiding. I'll tell you know what it happened to us, right? Avoiding is not the ideal way of resolving the conflict. It is not the ideal way, trust me, but sometimes it is utterly important and necessary to avoid. When you are having heated arguments, especially you will see this happens a lot in personal fronts, in spouses or not, when you are always in loggerheads and heated, it is important to separate that for a moment. Physically separate those people. If you're working in a team also and you're having conflict with your team members, very often separate those individuals. As I said, it is not the ideal way of resolving the conflict, but sometimes it is necessary to take such step to resolve the conflict. Because if these parties, they keep on meeting each other, of course, for sure, but natural, they'll keep on being in logarithms, and that's going to exaggerate the entire conflict. So yeah, so for what happens, sometimes, when you physically kind of separate them, they may cool off after a certain period of time. We all come back to our calmness, composure, and then we think through. Yesterday, as we were talking about emotional stability, how important it is. Sometimes when we are overwhelmed with emotions, we don't think straight. Okay, we are not able to think through, and at that moment it is better to kind of, yeah. So it is better to kind of separate yourself, and then when you have had calmness, composure, then come and talk about it. Then you would be able to find a better solution. Like, again, example, Karan and Shweta, so they are going for a new advertising campaign. Karan is thinking that, Karan is in a different point of view and Shweta is in different. They both are not coming on the same page. They are not on the same page. And because of that, they are loggerheads. So they have tried, problem solving and collaborating, but it didn't work for them. So whenever they're meeting, they are kind of outburst is happening. So the supervisor, he tells him that today you don't work in this project at all. Today you both go and work on some other project where you are not seeing each other. Okay. And then we'll see to it later. That day when they didn't work on that project, and next day when they came with a more composed mindset, okay, more positive and collaborative attitude, and they were able to resolve it better. So that is your avoiding. Sometimes it is necessary, but not the ideal. Always, take up the issue, whatever has happened. Next is your competing. Competing is something so in obliging, I said it was the attitude was you win and I lose, right? Okay, I lose and you win. In this, it is opposite. In competing, it is I win and you lose mentality. Now, competing is used in two places. One, when an individual has that kind of attitude that whatever happens at any cost, I am the one who should be the winner. I'm the one who should take all the chunk. For that, they may go to the superiors and supervisors and make allies with different people to get work done. Another bit is there when the two parties, they are not able to resolve that problem by themselves, then a superior party has to intervene. You saw in the last video, okay, Monica and Rachel were fighting and Phoebe had to intervene, because then some external one has to intervene and resolve that. But if competing happens for that reason, the first reason, I win and you lose, that time it is also known as sometimes a bully approach, right? Whatever happens, I have to win. That is a competing approach, because you don't want to hear at all the other individual's perspective. Now, what happens is that, for example, in competing, so Jagruti and Sanjay, they both are working with they have to bring more customers to their organization. So Jagruti thinks she's going to send a direct mail feature to all the targeted customer. Okay, so for Mansi, Aniket, Basappa, Ganesh, Gaurav, Jibin, Kripa, if they are the targeted customers, so Mansi will send mails to all these people. Now, Sanjay feels this is a very old approach, and nowadays, who reads all these mail? The mail goes directly to the junk box, the mail junk. And that's the reason he said, I'll go for TV campaign. Our audience would be wide, we would be able to capture much more audience. Now, Jagruti feels that this is an utter wastage of money, because here your audience is not targeted, right? It's untargeted. So you're wasting such a huge amount of money. Sanjay's point of opinion, I already told, he feels that Jagruti is going by old school method. Nobody reads that. So if Jagruti wants to go for competing method, sure. Jagruti wants to go for competing method. What will she do? She will go to the boss, get her, thought process implemented, the mail one, and Sanjay would be scrapped out. If Sanjay wants to take that liberty or has that kind of attitude, he would go to the boss and get it all sorted. So this is what happens in competing approach. Now what we'll do, we'll take a break right now. Okay, so we'll come back by 12:15. Okay, and then we'll do Johari window and certain other things. Is that okay? Yeah, okay. And Jibin, I'm back too. Okay, yes, Rahul. So now we would be talking about, see, all these conflict resolution techniques we now just talked about. Now we would be talking about another way where I need to understand myself to resolve the conflict. Because do you all agree that we can't change much in others, but we can do a lot of change in ourselves? We have that power to change ourselves. Maybe I don't have the power to change others, but I do have. My power lies within me, and that's what Johari Window tells us. So first of all, it's not Johari Window. So it's Joseph Ingham and Harry Loft. They had created this quadrant, okay, these 4 quadrant, which is known as Johari window. So if you see the first one, and this particular one is used to understand myself better or oneself better to resolve conflict which arises. So the first one, when you see, which is known as the open quadrant, the white color one, it says known to others and known to self. Let me first explain it to you here. Just see what is written. Known to self and known to others is open quadrant. Not known to self, but known to others is hidden. You're blind. And you're not known to others and known to self is your hidden, and which is not known to me and not known to others is your unknown. Let me first explain what do we mean by this. First area, which is the open area, the white one, which is known to me and known to others. So it is that information which you also know about me and I also know about myself. For example, the information nowadays which you'll find in social media and all, the public history, like about individuals, education, family, a little bit, right? Behavior, knowledge, all these things, experience. So of course, you will know that about yourself. I'll also know about you all. Okay, so that is your open window, which people also know about you and I also know about myself. So that is your open area. Okay, next is your blind area. Blind area means others know about it, which is about me, of course, but I'm not aware. This is my blind spot. I can't see that. Others have noticed that. It might be my insecurity, my way of handling things. Sometimes it may happen that when somebody answers me back, my face may turn pale. I don't notice that. I don't notice that. I become defensive, but others might be noticing it. So it is that quality of yours or that information about you which others have noticed about, but you haven't, because it's your blind spot. You aren't even aware of it. So that's your blind area. Then the third quadrant, which was your hidden area. That means I know all this information about me and others don't know about me. That's my hidden. I don't want the public to know about it. That is my insecurities, my vulnerabilities. I don't want it to expose to others. I want to keep it hiding, right? So that is your hidden area. And then unknown is that I haven't ventured into that field. I don't know. So even others don't know. For example, until unless COVID happened, we were not aware that we can stay indoors for like 6 months and not meet our loved ones, not go to work and do work from home. Were we aware? Shashi, Jibin, Jyotish, Yunus, were we aware? Abid? No. Likewise, until unless I go for mountaineering and I fail and I come to know, oh, it's not my cup of tea. So the more we explore ourselves, the more we are open for experience, the more we lessen our unknown area. But unknown area is always going to be there. There's always going to be something which we are not aware of, right? And others are also not aware of ourselves. So these are the 4 quadrants of Johari window. Now tell me a simple thing. Which quadrant has to be increased more so that conflicts are less? Open. Very good, Sunny. So yes, very good. The open arena. Absolutely. See what happens? I was saying that the more you communicate with people, the people will assume less about you, and then there wouldn't be any conflict. So yeah, the arena or the open area, you need to increase more. Now, how can you do it? Which quadrant has to be decreased? Tell. Blind, unknown. Actually, if you see all, yes, blind particularly. How Yunus, how Basappa, how can we decrease our blind area? Tell me, how can we reduce our blind area? Asking our friends, something on that line. Aniket, you're going in right direction. Yes, Ambarish. Yes, Rahul, Yeah, the word, yes, by taking feedback, lovely. Okay, by asking people, taking feedback. If I ask 10 people and everybody says the same thing, I need to corroborate it. Definitely there's something about it because everybody's telling me that. So when you are agile, when you're accepting the feedback, take that feedback and incorporate that. And do you also agree that sometimes we need to tell people about our vulnerabilities, insecurities, so maybe they will help us. They would not assume about us. Huh? Sometimes you need to also tell about your hidden area. But does that mean, Basappa, that we have to be open book in front of others? Huh, Ankit? Rahul? बिल्कुल नहीं, because people will start taking advantage. So it is your prudency, huh? It is up to you to understand how much to open in front of others. Like for example, with our very close friends and family, we would have your hidden area would be less. But when it comes to outside world, your hidden area may be more, and that's perfectly fine. You have to use your own judgment to understand how much I have to divulge in front of others. Because what happens if you tell too much, people may start taking advantage of your insecurities and vulnerabilities, and we don't want to come across as vulnerable. And then unknown area. Of course, the more you explore about yourself, the more you are open for experience, the more you are agile, your unknown area, you explore more and you are able to resolve the conflicts much better. So these are the 4 quadrants of Johari window, which helps us to understand better and resolve conflict. Are we clear? Because now we are going to the next topic, which is about styles of leadership. Are we all clear, guys? Yeah, lovely. Thank you, Jibin. What about others? Yeah? Okay, Sunny. Lovely, lovely. Thank you so much, guys. Yes, Ambarish Yunus. Thank you. Now we'll talk about the different styles of leadership: autocratic leadership, bureaucratic leadership, democratic leadership, charismatic leadership, situational, transactional, transformational, laissez-faire. So autocratic leaders are those who all think that it is either my way, there is no other way. You know, if I take the example of Hitler, or even for that matter, your King Jong, right? These people, they believe, they have such high beliefs in their own decision-making powers that they don't want others to intervene. They are so confident about their own decision-making abilities that they feel that they can never go wrong with it. So that's the reason it is either their way or not any other way. So they don't have that shared vision and participative style. Absolutely not. The followers are not very like, the followers would not have that creativity and all, because they don't, these kind of leaders, they don't ask for it. So that is the style of autocratic. Bilkul, yes, Yunus, if you say about Hitler, there were so many people he influenced, isn't it? Adolf Hitler. If you talk about now about even King Jong, okay, we from the external world are thinking from that perspective, but people in North Korea, they're like ardent followers, some of them. Yeah. So yeah, that's your autocratic style of leadership. Now comes your bureaucratic style of leadership. Bureaucracy is typical how it happens in government organization, right? So bureaucracy means that you want systems everywhere, process, system driven, process driven, okay, hierarchy driven. You cannot skip hierarchy. Like nowadays in new age organization, you have free flow of information, no, not so much of, rule, regulation, protocols, but here it is all driven by rules, processes, regulation, levels of hierarchy. So why Joseph Stalin? Okay, you can put even, yeah, Basapa, even you can put, Joseph Stalin in autocratic also, but why do I chose him to be the bureaucratic leader? I'll tell you. So USSR earlier had a very, very egalitarian culture. That means everybody was treated equally, everybody had equal rights and all. But Joseph Stalin changed his entire egalitarian culture to a hierarchical driven bureaucratic culture. Protocols, procedures, ways of handling things, functions, hierarchies. You can't skip hierarchy. So it totally changes to government, a bureaucratic government style. So that is your bureaucratic leadership. Then comes the next one, which is democratic leadership. So I'll tell you a thing about it. So you all know democracy is by the people, for the people, and the people. That means the followers have very important part to play in democratic leadership, because unlike the autocratic leadership where they have so much belief in their own decision making style that they don't ask people to be a part of that. Whereas in democratic leadership style. The followers have full participation. They participate, they give, they take followers' input. See, at the end of the day, it is the responsibility, it is the power of the leader to take decisions. At the end of the day, it is his power. But having said that, they still want their followers to participate in that decision making. The final call will be taken by the leader. But here in democratic style of leadership, the followers are very happy because they have a full chance to be a part of it, because their ideas, their feedback, their suggestions are taken into consideration. Now, if you talk about Nelson Mandela, we all know that he fought for anti-apartheid. So apartheid is the discrimination which is done based on your skin color, racial discrimination based on your skin color. So blacks in South Africa were really, really treated badly. So he fought against that, for which he went to the jail also. He spent years in jail. But so Nelson Mandela was first democratically elected Black president of South Africa. So yeah, have you watched? So if you really want to understand, leadership and all, okay, I'll recommend you a few movies. So if you want to understand people, perception, and personality, go and watch 12 Angry Men. It'll tell us about how our past experience shapes us. Okay, if you want to understand about I think teamwork and all, I still feel that Chak De India is a beautiful movie. If you want to understand about leadership, go watch Invictus. Okay, Invictus shows the leadership style of Nelson Mandela, and I'm going to show you clipping from Invictus. Just give me a moment. Are you all there, or you all have slept? Huh?
Tell me, Francois, what is your philosophy on leadership? How do you inspire your team to do their best?
By example. I've always thought to lead by example, sir.
Well, that is right. That is exactly right. But how to get them to be better than they think they can be?
No audio is there? Yunus? Audio is there or no? It's there. Okay, okay. Yunus, check at your end. Sorry. Yeah, please.
That is very difficult, I find. Inspiration, perhaps. How do we inspire ourselves to greatness when nothing less will do? How do we inspire everyone around us? I sometimes think it is by using the work of others. On Robben Island, when things got very bad, I found inspiration in a poem.
A poem?
A Victorian poem. Just words, but they helped me to stand when all I wanted to do was to lie down. But you didn't come all this way to hear an old man talk about things that make no sense.
No, please, Mr. President. It makes complete sense to me. On the day of a big match, say a test, in the bus on the way to the stadium, nobody talks.
Ah, yes. They're all preparing.
Right. But when I think we're ready, I have the bus driver put on a song. Something I've chosen, one we all know. And we listen to the words together. And it helps.
I remember when I was invited to the 1992 Olympics in Barcelona. Everybody in the stadium greeted me with a song. At the time, the future, our future, seemed very bleak. But to hear that song in the voices of people from all over our planet made me proud to be South African. It inspired me to come home and do better. It allowed me to expect more of myself.
May I ask, what was the song, sir?
Well, it was in Posisikilele, Africa. A very inspiring song. We need inspiration, Francois. Because in order to build our nation, we must all exceed our own expectations.
This statement I really like, that in order to build our nation, we all must exceed our expectation, and that is so true, right? We all can't foster a lot of success until and unless we have that attitude, right? So yes, let's go to the next one, which is about your charismatic leaders. You know what? Charismatic leaders are those like which who when talk, they kind of create a community and everybody is like spellbound and listening to them. They're very motivational. They show you a vision, and the followers of these kind of leaders are very happy and content how they feel about them. So this is like, if you talk about Barack Obama, not Barack Obama, even his wife, Michelle Obama, when you hear them, they have that, that aura around them that you are so inspired when they talk. They're very motivational, highly motivational. They have also a kind of stardom around them. So you want to listen to them. You feel inspired when you listen to them. So that is your charismatic style of leadership. Now, the next style of leadership is situational style of leadership. Now, if you talk about George Bush, what is situational style of leadership? That then in this style of leadership, you don't have one particular way of doing it, right? You don't have one perfect leadership style. You kind of always tweak your leadership style as per the situation at that moment. So why George Bush? In particular, George Bush wasn't that individual who would probably, believe in war and all. But when this 9/11 happened, that attack on Twin Tower, okay, the attack on the World Trade Center in US, and that time, for the need of the hour, he took the decision in which he launched war against terrorism, right? And for that, he sent the entire, your soldiers and his entire army or their entire fleet to Afghanistan. If you remember, it just came back after 20 years from there. You all remember this thing? Just few months before only it was on news that all these people had come back, the soldiers who had all gone to Afghanistan. Yeah. So that is your situational style of leadership, because here you don't have one perfect style of leadership. Based on the contingency, based on the situation, you take actions. Then you have transactional style of leadership. So transactional style of leadership is kind of give and take leadership. So, okay, so what happens is that in this particular kind of, see, if you talk about Indira Nooyi, I feel she's more of situational style of leadership. But having said that she has situational style of leadership, why do I quote here her for transactional style of leadership? Because I have certain incidents to tell you about her, which kind of will help you to also understand that why she's called as transactional leadership. See, she says that if you want a team to perform, you give them everything what they need, and then you can see these people can move mountains. A transactional thought process. Another bit which, whilst she was one of the main contender to be the CEO of PepsiCo, right? One of the two final round of contenders. And of course, we all know that she was the one who got selected. Now, when she got selected, the other contender, okay, she really want this guy to be on her team, to which she flew to him. She raised his package to nearly match hers. Okay, and then she brought this individual with her, because she knew the kind of PepsiCo she wanted to create wouldn't have been possible without this guy. Okay, and Forbes had famously called it as team of rivals, because these people were rivals in final round. So that's what it is. So she knew and she believed in a slogan which is like performance with purpose. Okay, she said, if you're just performing, balance sheet is healthy, but you're not giving back to the society. And if you read all her autobiography, you will see that how she reduced the salt intake in all these Lays and all, so that the taste stays, but the salt is less. And likewise, the oil intake for these fried chips and all, the taste, and of course, they don't want to compromise in taste now, because we only wouldn't buy them. Also, and she's like, people should get different, a bouquet. It should not be forced to choose. So then she introduced fun for you, good, better for you, and good for you. So fun for you would be your regular cola, Pepsi, regular, normal fried chips and all. Good for you would be better for you would be the baked ones. Okay, the diet Pepsi and the baked chips and all. And good for you was your what do you say? Your Quaker oats and Tropicana juice and all. that she got. So she said we should give a bouquet to your customers, and they should be able to choose it. So this is another example of Indra Nooyi. I have one video of Indra Nooyi, but I wouldn't show now. Towards the end, if we find time, then I'll show you 5 C's of leadership from Indra Nooyi. Then we have transformational style of leadership. Transformational style of leadership is that when these are the leaders who give you time to transform yourself, change yourself, they inspire you, they make you a better version of yourself, okay? And they give you a fair chance to change yourself, right? So it's a very, very valuable kind of leadership, because here you are making an individual a better version of him, changing that individual for his own good. I'll quote a story here, an anecdote. So there was this lady whose son used to have a lot of sweet stuff, lot of sugary stuff, and his mother was very much worried about him. So, and this guy was an ardent follower of Gandhiji. So this guy was, he was like that, he would do anything for Gandhiji, that kind of follower. So his mother went to Gandhiji and told him that, Bapu, look at my son now. He has so much of sugary and sweet stuff, which isn't good for health. So if you can tell him not to have, and he's your follower, he kind of adores you like anything. So if you can tell him, so he can reduce his sugar intake. To which Gandhiji told her that you do one thing, you come after 15 days. The lady said, sure, I will. After 15 days, when she visited Gandhiji, she said the same thing. Bapu, do you remember I'd come to meet you and I told you about my son? And he has so much of sweet stuff. He's like, yeah, please bring your son. So she brings her son to meeting him. Gandhiji tells him, son, you shouldn't have too much of sweet stuff. It is not good for health. Now the lady got furious. She's like, Babu, you could have told me this like 15 days back. Why did you ask me to travel all over again after 15 days? Listening to which Gandhiji said that I myself at that point of time was having a lot of sweet stuff. So how could I tell the child? So this is transformational. You walk the talk, you practice what you preach. Okay, you lead by example. So that's what. So this is transformational. One more example I want to quote here. Have you heard the story of Angulimal and Gautam Buddha childhood fable or story? Have heard it? That there used to be a dacoit whose name was Angulimal. He used to kill people, chop their fingers, and wear a garland. And later on, when he met Gautam Buddha, he changed to be a better person. So that is the transformational style of leadership where you change an individual. I am very, it really gives me a nice feeling that you all have heard that story. Then comes your laissez-faire leadership. So laissez-faire leadership means virtually no leadership at all, because these are the leaders who are, who give you freedom. So they don't intervene so much. They give you responsibility, but not just responsibility. They also empower you to take decisions. Okay, so you are kind of your own. You have full authority to make decisions. So you feel more empowered. So that is your laissez-faire style of leadership. Why Warren Buffett? Warren Buffett is a CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. And he says that, okay, that it is important that you have to make sure that your employee does not feel that he's just an employee. You should make, he should feel like an owner, and then you are sorted. Then he would never, that individual is never going to mess with the money. And that's what it happens. When you give people, see, if you give them responsibility without any power, people would be frustrated. Okay, they would be, morale would be down. But when you give people responsibility along that, when you empower them with decision-making ability, that's the best form. Okay, that's the best thing which we could do. So that's your laissez-faire style of leadership. Then there is a servant style of leadership. So servant style of leadership is quite different from your contemporary leadership styles, which we discussed. Because in all these things, the followers, here in servant style of leadership, you have that steward kind of feeling. Okay, very different from traditional one. Here, you have to take care of your followers. You have to be patient with them. You have to be serving them, stewardship. That's what I said. You need to have, good listening skills and all, commitment to their growth, responsibility to taking care of your employees or the followers. That's your servant style of leadership. And I think apart from Mother Teresa, I don't think so. Anybody could have done that much justice as her name here. Then comes our last style of leadership, which we will be discussing, is authentic leadership. And authentic leadership is there where you have crystal clear transparency with your followers, right? Whether you are so honest with your followers that you feel that it is your responsibility to be absolutely honest and with your, and it is built on totally ethical foundation. And I think none other than in India, what I feel would be suited for this the most, as much as Mr. Ratan Tata, his style of leadership. We all know that see, when things are going fine, when things are going hunky-dory, anybody can be a leader. But during crisis, the individual who shows the best style, that's the real leader. Do you all agree? And whether it is 26/11 crisis, whether it is your COVID crisis, Tatas have proven to be the best. Yeah, they have always gone. When 26/11 happened, okay, Mr. Ratan Tata himself was visiting the funeral everywhere. Okay, he was there with his employees, and he did not only take care of the employees, but the people who were outside. These vendors, the cart, every vendor who got kind of lost his carts and all, they got new carts for 6 months. They got 10,000 rupees per month for 6 months. Okay, so it was none of his concern. Nah? It was outside Taj Hotel. So he didn't only take care of his customers or his employees, but he also took care of the people who were outside. There was this vendor whose granddaughter got shot in heart, I think this thing. Tata Memorial took the entire cost, took them to a Bombay hospital, took the entire cost. That's what is authentic style of leadership. Okay. And yeah, now we come to the last bit of the last part, which is known as understanding power. So power is different from leadership. Okay, in leadership, you influence people want to do it willingly. In power, you are maybe coercing people, forcing them to do certain things. But trust me, one thing, and power is like when you're influencing people to get things done as per your own way, whether it is hiring, allocating resources, anything within the organization. But the best statement which I like about power is that it's dynamic. It changes with the situation. So please, it is important. If you feel powerful today, you all know that it is dynamic. It's not going to stay with you forever. So yes, remember, if you remember this, you will never misutilize your power. As some people may thinking that, oh, it's going to be a short while, so let me make the most whilst that. Okay, while it lasts. So yeah, so it's a beautiful quote that power is dynamic. It is with, so if we talk about Donald Trump, okay, few years before he was so powerful. Do you think he's powerful as he was at that point of time when he was a president of US? It was with him, the power was with him, the presidential power was with him till the time he was ruling. He does not have any more. Okay, like in that case, even Obama does not have that power right now. That's a legitimate or structural power. So neither Obama nor Trump right now, it is with Biden. Yeah? Are we all good? Yeah, lovely. So we'll talk about what are the different sources of power. So this is our last topic. So we have 5 different sources of power: reward power, coercive power, legitimate power, expert power, and referent power. What is the first one? The reward power. So these kind of individuals, they exert their power from rewarding people. So if you have done good thing, positive reinforcement. Gaurav ko ek gaadi de diya. Jyoshishman has done good thing, some cash. So you get your power from rewarding people. Like you talk about, like for example, many bosses in organization, when reward people, acknowledge their, okay, they exert the power by rewarding people. Now, if you talk about Shavji Bhai Dholakia, okay, he's a diamond merchant in Surat. So what he does, the employees who have performed very well, he's happy with the performances at peak, they're gifted with car, flats, and even cash. That's how he exerts his power, through rewarding people, positive reinforcement. Then the next is coercive power. Coercive means fistful, forceful. Adolf Hitler, King Jong, either, again, the same thing. They want to be the alpha male. So everything has to go what they feel like. Everything has to be in accordance with their thought process. You want to be totally in control, that everybody has to listen to me as an absolute law. Okay, so what happens if we go against the law? We are punished, right? So that's what happens with these kind of forceful people. So coercive is like, if you don't do. So for example, if a boss follows a coercive power, so he would not say in reward power, you appreciate. Shilpa says, oh, wow, Gaurav, you have done a good job. So what happens? Gaurav is rewarded Employee of the Month. For an individual who uses coercive power. Okay, Pooja, you have not done a good job. Okay, your appraisal is going to be very bad. Or what happens? Take this project back from Pooja. She has not done a good job. Give it to Jyotish. Okay, like that. So here, how do you fear people? You would not, motivate them positively. It is you will show them the fear. Okay, if you don't do this, you would be transferred to a remote location. If you don't do this, we'll send you to that project. So like this is your coercive power, fistful, forceful. Then comes the next, which is known as legitimate power. Legitimate power is the power of that particular position you're holding. During Diwali, when you crack those, when you bursted those crackers in school, the principal had the power to rusticate you or suspend you for few days. That's a legitimate power. That's a power position of the chair. Like we were talking about the power of Biden, the power which probably earlier Obama or Trump had. So that's a legitimate power. It has nothing to do with me. It is the power of that particular chair or position or the hierarchy which you're holding. So if you're there in that, whoever sits in that chair, whoever holds that position gets that power. It's a structural power, legitimate power, it is known as expert power. So individuals, when you are good at certain things, those individuals has expertise. Now I'll tell you something, an example. Why do we say Sundar Pichai? So back then when Eric Smith was the CEO of Google, so Sundar Pichai wanted to launch this, your Chrome, and Eric Smith wasn't very convinced about it, and he was the CEO. Okay, so but Larry Page and Sergey Brin, they had so much of confidence in Pichai's expert power. They said, "You please go ahead with it." Okay, now what happened? Browser project, it turned the Google Chrome. We all know it was a huge success, and with a market share of around 45%. So that's what happened. That's your expertise. And we all know for our online class, the expert power lies to our, to our these guys, IT guys, okay? They exert this expert power on us. So we have to be dependent on them. Okay, then comes your referent power. So referent power also is held by these charismatic leaders. So as I said, these people have an aura around them. They're very motivational when they talk. So they might not even hold public offices, but people look up to them. Like, why did Cadbury's go to Amitabh Bachchan when they had, when the chocolates were infested with worms? Because Amitabh Bachchan holds that charisma and he has that referent power. Otherwise, you know what? He's not holding any public office, but before COVID on a Sunday afternoon at around 4, go to Juhu and you'll feel that, it's all traffic jam because people are outside his house to just have a glimpse of it. That's a referent power. That's the reason during COVID, whenever you call somebody, you will have Mr. Bachchan talking about it. Why do these people go to Shah Rukh Khan or Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli for polio campaign? Because people look up to them, okay? And people would agree to what they say and would comply. So that's your referent power. Though they don't have a real office, but still they have exert so much of power on others. But he has, Jyotishman, if you say, his would be more of a legitimate power at that moment. Okay, he might have some charisma around him. That is there, but his is more of a legitimate. People will listen to him because he's the prime minister of our country. But if you talk about Amitabh or Shah Rukh or Virat Kohli or Sunil Shetty or all these, public figures, they don't hold any offices for us, but then people look up to them. They're like legends in their own fields. Na? So as I promised you, I'll show you Indra Nooyi's video, 5 C's of Leadership. Okay? Just a moment. Okay. So here we are on the video page. Are we there on the video page? Shall I play the video? Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys.
One last question. So this is from @Upper Valley Mom. Good handle. Would love to know what skills or experiences Indra would suggest as essential for future leaders.
Oh, great question. I've always talked about my 5 C's model, and let me talk about them again. The first is competency. I think anybody who wants to be a future leader should have a hip pocket skill that everybody looks at and says, XYZ is the go-to person for that skill. Because unless you're really known for something, and not just as a generalist, you don't stand out from the pack. But in order to be competent at something, you've got to be a lifelong student, because you've got to constantly refine your knowledge of that subject so that you remain ahead and abreast of everything that goes on in that field first. The second I'd say is courage and confidence. It's a pair. You can be very, very competent, but if you're not willing to speak out, if you're not willing to have the confidence based on your knowledge, what's the point, right? You just roll over. So courage and confidence are very important. The third is communication skills. You cannot overinvest in communication skills, written and oral communications, because as a leader, you constantly have to mobilize the troops. I can tell you when I first came to the United States, I used to debate and I used to be on debating teams, but I used to speak so fast because culturally I grew up in an environment where people spoke very fast. Fortunately, Yale had a requirement that unless you passed the communications course, you couldn't graduate from the first year to the second year in business school. I flunked the first time I took the communications course. So over summer, I took it again, which was the best thing that happened because I learned to sync my brain with my output from my mouth, and so I started to slow down what I was saying. Huge difference. So I'd encourage all of you, invest in communication skills, critically important. The fourth skill I'd say is consistency. It's important that leaders are consistent. You can change your mind, but change your mind against a consistent framework, because if you're not consistent, people are always second guessing what you're doing. So be consistent. And the last skill is your compass. Integrity is critical in this job. You can be competent, you can be courageous, have confidence, be a great communicator, be consistent. But if you don't have integrity, if that compass doesn't point true north, everything comes crashing down, as we've seen in recent times. So again, it's the 5C model, and that's what I've operated against for all my life.
So that's what the 5 C's model was. And yeah, here we are back to our presentation. Do you have any questions? Any questions from anyone till now? So our behavioral science portion is over, right, Nilesh? Were you able to understand? Shall I send you the link also? Just give me a moment. I shall send you the link as well, in case if you are not able to understand. Just give me a moment. And okay, so this was the video which I showed. Okay, guys, are you all able to hear me? Yes, no? Acha, theek hai. So this is a link of the video which I showed it to you. Do you have any questions? Now the behavioral science portion is over. We are done with personality, perception, attitude, group, team, and conflict, and leadership, and power. Now we would be heading to HR portion in the next class, in which we talk about human resource planning, recruitment, selection, induction, orientation, and I think performance appraisal. So do you have any question? Anyone has any question? Ha? Shashi, Aniket, Shilpa, Mansi, Madhuri, Kripa, Rahul, Rohit, Basappa, Jibin, anyone? Ankit? You know the kind of questions which have been asked in IAS, same kind. TEE, so 40 marks, right? I think you will have TEs of 40 marks. 60 marks, sorry. See, I keep on getting confused. So 60 marks, you will have 20 marks, 3 questions. 3 questions of 20 marks each. Simple. The kind of IAs you have, the same kind of questions would be there. Scenario based, that's it. Okay? Yeah, you will find, Shashi, you will find some reflections there in transformational. Yes, yes, you'll find reflections there. Yes, definitely. Thank you, everyone. Not a problem. Shashi, we good? In the next class, as I said, we'll complete the course and then we'll have a little conversation over video. We all have to be ready for that. Okay? Chalo. So yeah, we'll meet in the next class. Thank you so much. You all also have a great Sunday. I have loads of classes lined up. So yeah, meet tomorrow. We'll discuss that day, Mansi. Okay? Okay. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Thank you.